It's widely known as van life. What is van life? Well, you take a van and you live in it. Simple as that, right? The world is your backyard. You wake up in a different city every single day. Excitement, travel, nonstop. You never know where the road is going to take you. You may have a vague idea, but you're not entirely sure what's down that endless road. Myself, I have a beautiful camper van outside, built it myself. Love it. Living the van life is the best time of my life. But again, how long is that life going to last? I know that's spooky, right? I'm sitting here trying to hit your nerves a little bit, maybe scare you away from van life so there's not so many of you in my parking spots. Maybe that's what I'm doing here. But for some, it hasn't been the best of times. Today we're going to tell a short story about Jake Turner. Yeah, Jake, he big into van life, kind of ahead of his time before all of us others followed in his footsteps. Had a little bit of a social media account, taking pictures of all the places he's gone, all the people that he's met. Sometimes living the van life might lead to not living at all. So what happened to Jake Turner? Let me tell you a short story.
They call it the freedom lifestyle, the open road, the endless landscapes, waking up wherever you choose. Some people spend years dreaming of it, saving up, selling their belongings, and taking off into the unknown. That's exactly what Jake Turner did. But for him, van life wasn't just about adventure. It was about escaping. No deadlines, no bosses, no routines, just him, his van, and the road ahead. But what Jake didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that some places on the map weren't meant to be stopped at. Some roads don't lead where you expect, and sometimes, when you step too far into the unknown, it swallows you whole. Jake had never been the kind of guy to settle down. At 27, he had already switched careers twice, first working in IT, then trying his hand at freelance photography, but nothing stuck, nothing felt right. So, in early 2021, he made the decision. Van life. He sold nearly everything he owned, bought a 1987 Chevy G20 conversion van, and started traveling across the US, documenting his experiences online. His Instagram grew quickly. Thousands of followers watched as he posted photos of stunning landscapes, cozy van setups, and the occasional deep introspective caption about life on the road. But in October of that year, something changed. That's when he arrived in northern New Mexico. That's when the photos stopped. That's when things got weird. Jake had been driving for hours, weaving through the rugged terrain near Carson National Forest. The sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows over the cracked dirt road. He wasn't looking for a campground. He rarely did. He preferred isolation, pulling off the beaten path away from the noise. That's exactly what he found. A clearing, tucked between two massive oak trees, far from any marked trails. The perfect spot. He set up his van, pulled out his folding chair, and cracked open a beer. The air was cool, the night silent, except for the wind, which whistled through the trees like a distant breath. It should have been peaceful, but something felt off. He couldn't put his finger on it at first. Maybe it was the strange stillness of the woods, the way the branches didn't sway even when the wind blew, or maybe it was the feeling that he was being watched. Brushing off the unease, Jake snapped a photo of his van under the twisted branches of the oak. He posted it to Instagram with a simple caption, "Not alone out here. Pretty sure I saw someone watching me from the trees last night. Probably nothing, right?" That was the last post Jake ever made. The next day, his friend Sarah in Colorado received a voicemail from him. She wasn't able to answer when he called, but when she listened to the message later, her stomach dropped. "Hey, weird stuff happening out here. Thought I heard footsteps outside the van last night, but there was no one there. And I woke up to find my back doors open, wide open. I know I locked them. Probably just the wind, but man, I don't know. Call me when you get this." Sarah called back immediately. No answer. She texted, no response. Jake's read receipts stopped appearing, and then, a day later, his phone went straight to voicemail. Sarah assumed he had just lost service. But after 5 days of silence, she knew something was wrong. That's when she called the police. On October 17th, a local camper named Martin was hiking through the area when he noticed an old Chevy van parked beneath the trees. At first, he thought nothing of it, but as he got closer, he saw something off. The driver's door was slightly open. A pair of hiking boots sat neatly outside the van, covered in a thin layer of dust, as if untouched for days. Martin called out. No answer. He stepped closer, peering inside. Jake's wallet was still on the dashboard. His phone was still plugged into the charger. A half-empty coffee cup sat in the cup holder, the liquid inside moldy and undisturbed. But Jake was gone. Police arrived within hours, launching a massive search effort. Drones, dogs, helicopters, nothing. Then, half a mile from the van, they found something strange. In the dirt, there were bare footprints, not just Jake's, but someone else's, and they led nowhere. They circled, crossed over each other, then just stopped, like whoever or whatever was walking had simply vanished. Weeks passed. No leads, no body, no answers. Then, 3 months later, Sarah received an email from Jake's account. It was just one sentence. Don't look for me. I found where I belong. The email was traced to a library computer in a small town 500 miles away. Security footage showed no one had used it. The librarian swore she had seen no one sitting at that terminal. Jake Turner was never found. His case remains unsolved. But here's where it gets worse. Months later, a new Vanlifer parked in the same clearing. She was a solo traveler, documenting her journey just like Jake had. That night, she was woken by a sound. A slow, deliberate scratching against the outside of her van. Heart pounding, she grabbed her phone and shined her flashlight out the window, and that's when she saw it. A figure, standing at the tree line, barefoot, motionless, watching. She snapped a photo, but by the time she looked at her phone, the figure was gone. The next morning, she found something in the dirt beside her van, a single bare footprint, and it wasn't hers. Some people say Jake Turner chose to disappear. Others believe he was taken by something that can't be explained. But one thing is certain, van life is supposed to mean freedom, but some roads you never come back from.
I couldn't count on both of my hands and all of my toes how many times I've been freaked out living in the van life. Though living in the van life is the greatest time of my life. Again, the endless road. I love it. I love the question marks. Where am I going to sleep tonight? Who am I going to meet? Where am I going to go? What am I going to experience? Van life is the best life. I've been lucky. Jake Turner? Who knows what happened to Jake Turner? I'd like to find out. And I would also like for you to like this video. If you like the video, I'm not going to force you into anything. Also subscribe to the Just Awful channel, because every single week we're going to give you a new story that is just awful. And I think I like the dramatic pause that I add to that title, Just Awful. So I'm Brandon Bishop. Thank you for watching Just Awful. And the next story that we got next week is,